Well, hi, Bridget. It's so nice to have you here. Thank you for taking some time out of your very busy hairdressing practice. Although I think Mondays, maybe you've got the day off, which is really cool. I'm really so keen to catch up with you a little bit and hear what you've been up to since you did the awakening 3 years ago. And as you know, I fondly called you my hair-apist because really that's what you became for me, someone that just is there and holds beautiful space for people. And it was such a delight to have you on the program. So maybe you can just talk a little bit, Bridget, about, why you wanted to do the awakening in the first place.
Okay, thanks for having me on your talk, Sharon. Well, when I started hairdressing, I mean, we've been sort of, most hairdressers just talk a lot of rubbish. And I found that I just didn't feel like I was connecting with my clients and I wasn't giving them the best of what I could. So I was finding that people were in my space and I didn't feel like I was giving them adequate support in what they were asking me to or I felt like I was giving. So we spoke about the awakening and your new journey that you were taking, and I thought, this could be something that I could actually offer to clients as a bit more of an added on service. So I started the journey with you, and it didn't just filter into my business. It's gone personal, and it's an amazing thing. So what happened was clients would come to me and share their dramas and all the rest of it, and I would come to them from a place of my personal opinion, and what I was feeling on that day was what I would share with them and give them ideas on what to do. So I realized that wasn't really good for anybody. So when I came to the awakening, you showed me how to listen without wanting to reply. And that was a huge thing for me because I always felt like I needed to fix everybody. And with clients, I realized that they're not there to be fixed. They're there to be listened to, because a lot of times in their personal lives, people don't listen to them. So I started to take a step back and not try and fix people. I decided, okay, I just need to listen and then just ask them questions that they weren't asking themselves. And as an outsider, sometimes it's easier to ask a question than when you're sitting in it, and then you can sit and go, oh, actually, that's what I should be asking myself. So it started there, and then we carried on our journey.
Wow. Yeah. So I love that, Bridget, because I've noticed that when I come to your hairdresser, I can sit there waiting for something to, happen with color or whatever. And I hear your interaction with your clients. And it's so amazing to me how you've taken what you learned and it's become so effortless for you. It's just like it's part and parcel of what you do as a hairdresser. And so they come to you knowing full well that when they leave there, they're going to feel better, not just physically, because you've transformed them with their hair, which is what you've been doing for so long, but you actually help them on more of a sort of like an emotional level or a mental level. So you're able to hold that space in such a short time. So as a coach, for me, that's super impressive because, from my perspective, people come and see me and it takes me a while, but because they know you and like you and trust you, there's this lovely space that you hold for them. And so I'm willing to bet that your hairdressing practice is busy. Am I right?
We are so busy. Yeah, you've got to book quite a bit in advance. But the best part is you're not just holding your one client's attention. I had a client the other day and she said to me, Bridget, I came to you a while ago and you were having a conversation with someone else. And I was sitting listening to you and it resonated with me, and I wasn't even your client, but I was listening to how you were in the questions you were asking this person, and it resonated with me. And she says, I came back to you because I wanted to sit and have that conversation with you, more of a personal sort of conversation. So I'm like, oh, okay. And here I thought everyone was coming for my expertise. In the meantime, they just
I love that. It's kind of, that's why I love that sort of title that I gave you. It's, a hair-apist. So you're doing the hair and you are kind of like this, kind of therapist that they can come to. And so I'd love to know what they feel when they do come to you, but I can see what happens to them, and you've got beautiful energy, and that's why I've been coming to you for years, because I sit there and I get that from you. So what a bonus that they can actually be with you, and they can even get that while you are interacting with another person. It's amazing. So you spoke a little bit about listening. I'd love to hear how that's impacted your life in a broader perspective, this idea of listening to people.
Well, the thing is, it's also in my personal life, is that I've realized that you don't always have to have the last say. It's okay to let someone talk, and then you don't need to say more. You can let them have the last say, because sometimes we tend to always want to be right. And sometimes your right isn't someone else's right. So sometimes it's okay not to have to put your point across. You can be quite happy in the fact that the other person thinks that they've got, or their point has come across. So sometimes it's as important to know when to stop than when to actually get your point across.
Sure, that's big, because what you're essentially saying is that your relationships have improved because you haven't got this need to be right.
Exactly that. Like with my son as well, is that, you know, having teenagers or teenage kids, sometimes they also trying to find their place in life and trying to sort of put their ideas out there. And sometimes you don't want to squish that. Sometimes you want to let them go with it and let them know that you're actually listening to them. You're hearing what they're saying, and you're not putting your ideas onto them. They can have their own ideas, and that's okay.
Wow. So, you know, what you're sort of pointing to, it feels to me like a lot more of a peaceful space, you know, for both at work and at home. What would you say has been the biggest impact on your life in general, you know, on every front?
I think, like you say, I'm at peace. I'm at peace with myself, who I am as a person. I don't feel like I need to get people to like me, or that's not my job. My job is I am who I am, and I'm comfortable with it. And I don't need to change someone's opinion of me or anything like that, because they're coming from a different place. So I'm happy with the place I'm at the moment, and I just don't feel like I need to prove anything to anybody. I'm happy in the space I'm in. It's impacted me more than I just thought I was going to do this for the business. And my personal life is just, I'm just so chilled, and I'm happy. I'm just so happy with myself, and I don't feel like I need to prove anything to anybody, because that's on them. Yeah.
You know, this is something that I think most of the world is looking for, to be happy with yourself, to be at peace with yourself, knowing you don't need to try and fix anybody, that everyone's got their own perspective, and that's all okay. So I'd love to hear a little bit about how that's different for you now, because you did the awakening in 2021. Am I right? That's 3 years ago. So how is it different now as compared to then? I'd love for you to speak about that a little bit.
Okay, so when I first started awakening, I would put a lot of pressure on myself, trying to make people happy in the work situation. So what I was finding I was doing, I was putting all this pressure and expectation on myself. I was expecting my clients, well, I thought my clients were expecting certain things from me. And I realized, actually, I'm doing it to myself. I'm assuming that they expect me to fit them in straight away, and they're expecting me to go far and beyond. And I realized that I was putting so much pressure on myself, and in my head, I was actually going mad because I was trying to fit everybody in. And I realized I don't need to do that. I need to have boundaries. I need to have boundaries for myself, so that my clients know you can't phone me after hours. That if I only have a certain amount of time, that is the time I have. I can't miraculously make time. And in the past, I was putting that pressure on myself, trying to make them happy. And I realized, actually, boundaries work better, because they know what to expect from me. And that is what I'm willing to give them. And that is one of the biggest things, especially in my work. I now only work 3 days a week, and I'm loving it. It gives so much more when I'm there.
Wow. So this is incredible, because you're saying that not only have your relationships changed and you at peace and you're happier, but you're actually more successful because you've put some boundaries in place. And that sounds to me like a lot of self-respect. And I respect that of you, because I know that when you are doing my hair, you are doing it from a place of calmness rather than this rush kind of idea that you've got to get through so many clients. So I know that's why I keep coming back, because it's a place where it's calm and it's peaceful and it's nice. And I leave there having had a really good experience, and I have a good feeling. So it feels to me like there's a win-win from those decisions that you made. And how those decisions came about was because there was a realization for you. What do you think the biggest sort of revelation or insight is that you got through that whole sort of journey of doing the awakening? And of course, then you went on to be a transformational life coach, which is incredible. What do you think the biggest thing is that you got from all of that?
I think for me is that I realized that we all have it in us. We can all be a coach, no matter what form of job you do or whatever. We all are in contact with people, and you might have 5 minutes to spend with that person, or you might have half an hour, but you can impact someone's life with just a few things that you just, that aha moment, just to give that person that aha moment that someone's listening to them. And I think anybody, no matter what life you choose or whatever, you can actually make an impact on someone else's life. And to me, that is the most important. When someone phones me the next day and says to me, I can't believe how what you said has changed the way I see things. And to me, that's better than any hair.
Wow. I'm not surprised people come in and want to sit in your chair. I know when I want to try and get to you, I've got to book well in advance, and that's a good thing. So I love the way that you have described that. It's just, you can take 5 minutes just to listen to another human being and make an impact on their life, to the point that they'll call you the next day and say, thank you so much. I don't think there's a better job than that, right? I mean, how does it get any better than you loving what you're doing and giving something to another person and them loving the experience that they've had? That's really, I think, what we are here for. It's kind of like you found your sort of purpose within your hairdressing, and they're not separate. They're one and the same thing. And when you go home, they're not separate. They're one and the same thing. So you are just Bridgette, and you're no longer trying to be anything other than that. So I think we're going to close off now. Just, I would love for you just to sort of finish off and give me an idea of, someone had to come to you and say to you, Bridgette, you're so different, and I see how successful you are in your life, and you're taking time to just play and have fun. It's not just all about work. What would you say to them if they said to you, how do I get there? What do I need to do to be what you are, and to experience what I feel you are experiencing, and to feel what it is that I feel when I leave this chair at that hairdressing space? I want to give that to my own family. What would you say to them?
You're worth it. Spend the time on yourself to better yourself. Spend the time. A lot of people see sort of courses and stuff like that as money or something like that. It's not. It's you giving yourself the best that you can give yourself. It is worth everything that you can actually, more than anything you'll ever spend in your life, is the time that you spend on yourself. Better yourself, encourage yourself, make yourself the best that you can be.
Oh, that's amazing. So I'm hearing you saying it's okay to invest in yourself. After all, you are your most important asset, so to speak. So would you encourage people to do the awakening 3 years later? Would you say that it's still something that it gave you of great benefit?
I use the principles that you have taught me daily. It is the best thing I've ever done in my life. I would say to anybody, invest in yourself, invest in the time, invest in the process. You will not be sorry. It's mind-blowing, and it is so simple. If you think that you can't do it, I'm a hairdresser. I couldn't even switch on the video, and I did it from my phone. You don't need to have anything fancy. You just need to find the time to invest in yourself.
Wow. So the word that comes through there is like, it's so simple. It's simplicity. There's nothing complicated about this. There's no tools or techniques or whatever. Wow. Bridgette, thank you so much. I really have enjoyed this time we spent together. I look forward to sitting in your hair-apist chair one of these days soon again. And it's just been a delight to hear you speak of your journey 3 years later and how much it's impacted you and the change you are making in people's lives. I know I'm in the community. I hear about it all the time. So thank you again, Bridgette. And I'll chat to you soon.
Thank you so much. You've changed my life. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.